Hey, what's up guys, it's Sabolo Uchiha here, back with the next part of What If Naruto became the 6th Hokage. And yeah guys, before continuing this, if you haven't, then please do leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel. And without further ado, let's continue with our story. Continues. Once he was finished with his initial task, he called out to his Anbu. The four arrived in front of him, awaiting orders. Anbu, I require you to bring me Shizune first, then Nara Shikamaru, Morino Ibiki, Mitarashi Anko, Shinra Genma, Tatame Iwashi, and Sarutobi Konohamaru as a group of second. After them, I need you to also bring in Yamato Taicho, and finally, I need you to also call 7 Genin teams. I don't care who they are. When you call them, I need them to arrive in that order as well. Can you do that? He ordered them as they all nodded, before vanishing out of his sight. Naruto decided to be productive while waiting, and so he worked on his paperwork once again. After a while, Shizune appeared, with Wolf escorting her. We did as you were told, Hokage-sama. We brought Shizune-san, and the others are waiting for you in the lounge, he said to the Hokage. Thank you, Wolf, Naruto said before the Anbu operative vanished and returned to his spot in the tower. The young Hokage then looked towards the young Jonin. When he glanced at Shizune, he saw her smiling at him. Congratulations, Naruto-kun. It seems that you actually did it. I knew you were going to be Hokage one day, but I didn't expect it to be like this. This early, I mean. Naruto smiled at the woman he considered to be like an older sister to him. Thank you, Shizune-chan. I actually called you here to ask you to be my assistant like you were to Ka-chan. Shizune looked slightly surprised at the offer, but then she smiled at the Hokage. Of course, Hokage-sama, I'll be happily your assistant. She chirped happily. Naruto smiled at her acceptance as he stood up to shake her hand. Thank you, this really means a lot to me, and I frankly really need your help to organize these things. He told her sheepishly, causing her to smile. Don't mention it, Naruto. I am more than happy to be your assistant and secretary. She assured him. Thanks, that's great, Shizune-chan. I guess we can start tomorrow. For today, I suggest for you to get some rest first before the job begins. Shizune nodded. I'll do just that, Naruto-kun. See you tomorrow, she said before exiting through the front door. But before she left the office, Naruto called out to her. Shizune, before you leave, could you please call in Konohamaru, Shikamaru, Genma, Anko, Ibiki, and Iwashi to come here? Of course, Naruto-kun, she replied. Naruto went back to his seat as he waited the ninjas he called for. Soon, one by one, they arrived and Naruto smiled upon seeing them. What did you call us here for, Gaki? Asked Anko as Ibiki groaned. Anko, this is our Hokage now. He's in the same person we met during the Chunin exams, who actually became Hokage while staying at Genin, he said. The others snickered at this, and Naruto himself was controlling himself to laughter. Konohamaru was also standing in the room, but he was admiring his boss in awe. He had finally become Hokage as he predicted. Seeing Naruto as the Hokage made Konohamaru smile. This only strengthened his resolve to be the Nanadaime Hokage. Naruto chuckled at the interactions of both Ibiki and Anko. He did not notice the look on Konohamaru's face. Well, actually, I called you all here for certain reasons, he told them, as the six began to straighten out in front of the Hokage. I would like to congratulate each of you first and foremost. During my council meeting earlier today, I spoke to the council about all 6 of you, and I nominated each of you for a promotion. Naruto told them with a smile. The 6 ninjas were surprised by the news. Naruto then grabbed the 6 scrolls laid in front of his desk. Each scroll contained the item and documentation of their promotions. Naruto handed each one to the 6 ninjas in front of him. Konohamaru was given the Chunin scroll, Iwashi was given the Tokubetsu Jonin scroll, and Shikamaru, Ibiki, Anko, and Genma were given the Jonin scroll. Each gratefully accepted the scrolls gleefully. The happiest among the group were both Anko and Konohamaru. Both had larger smiles plastered on their faces. The other merely smirked at their promotions. The Hokage then faked a cough to get their attention. The 6 straightened out and stood proudly as they listened to their Hokage. As you can see, all of you have been promoted. I personally vouch for each of you to be promoted, and I firmly believe that all of you have what it takes to live up to your expectations. I know that all of you will exceed the expectations placed upon you as a Chunin, Tokubetsu Jonin, and as Jonin, he said. This may be troublesome, Naruto, but thanks, I guess, said the lazy Nara. Naruto merely rolled his eyes with amusement. He expected this kind of reaction from his lazy friend. Still as lazy as ever, he thought to himself. Konohamaru also stood proudly. Thanks, boss. You won't regret this. I know I won't, Kono, replied the blonde man. Naruto then stood up and looked at each of them. All of you are now dismissed. But Kono and Shika, I need you two to stay here. The six nodded. Ibiki, Genma, Iwashi, and Anko all left the office while the two youngest ninjas of the six stayed behind, as Naruto ordered. So, why did you need us here, Naruto? Or should I say Hokage-sama? Shikamaru said with a smile as he teased his old friend. Naruto groaned at the teasing of Shikamaru. I'm never going to get used to that. And you don't need to call me that. I'm too used to you calling me by my name. That goes for you as well, Kono. He then looked at the two straight in the eyes. I actually also called you two here for different reasons. Both important though, he admitted as the two ninjas looked intrigued. Naruto looking at Shikamaru first before he spoke with his lazy friend. Shikamaru, as you know I am the Hokage and I admit I still have a lot to work on and honestly I'm learning as I go. This is why I need an advisor. You were the first person who came to my mind when I thought about that and to be honest I think I could have gotten nobody better than you. The young Naruto groaned. He had been expecting something as such this from Naruto. He thought about the pros and cons of the position of Hokage's advisor. He admitted that he could truly help Konoha as an advisor to Naruto. Shikamaru sighed. I'm just not sure, Naruto. This position is just so troublesome? Naruto asked with a straight face before he gazed towards the newly promoted Jonin. Shika, I know this job may be troublesome, but this is something both you and I must do. Asuma believed in you to protect the king and this is the best way to do so without being Hokage. We are no longer carefree kids, Shikamaru. We can't skip class with Kiba and Choji anymore. Hell, I'm responsible for the whole village while you three are being groomed to lead your respective clans. We do not have the luxuries we used to have as kids. Plus, you don't have to go on so much troublesome missions as the advisor. Shikamaru looked at Naruto slightly surprised. He thought about what he said and he realized this blonde man was right. He began to chuckle at his friend's explanation. Meanwhile, Konohamaru also looked at Naruto, surprised at the serious side he was showing. He was confused, however, when Shikamaru began to chuckle. What's so funny? Naruto asked. I never thought I'd see the day when you would convince me what was right from wrong. I never even thought I'd see you as mature as you were just then. He admitted as Naruto looked at his friend with a deadpan expression. So what? So what'll be your answer, Shikamaru? He grumbled in an annoying tone. As troublesome as this may be, I guess you were also right. Count me in, he said with a smirk on his face. Naruto grinned at the man and began to shake his hands. That is great, Shikamaru. I guess we could begin tomorrow as well. Shizune also agreed to be my assistant and she will begin the same day as you, he said as Shikamaru nodded. Alright, Naruto. If that's all, then I guess I'll take my leave then. Naruto nodded. Sure, no problem. See you tomorrow and don't be late, he replied as Shikamaru left the office. Now Naruto diverted his attention to Konohamaru. The Hokage looked at the young Sarada sheepishly. Hey, there, Konohamaru. Sorry about that. No worries, boss. Being Hokage is a busy job, and I understand, he said with a smile that could rival Naruto's. So what do you need, boss, or should I say Hokage now? He smiled as Naruto merely smirked proudly at his student as he patted him on the head. Konohamaru looked at his rival and boss in a surprised manner, and he saw his face. He noticed a look of pride coming from him. The same look his grandfather gave him when he was younger. I heard about your heroic during the invasion. From what I heard, you mastered what I taught you, Kono. I really am proud of you, he told him as Konohamaru began to blush at his praise. Arigato, Naruto-ni-chan, he told him as tears began to well up in his eyes. He quickly lunged towards his older brother and cried on his chest. I was so scared, Ni-chan. I thought I was going to die. Naruto was surprised at the fact and sudden contact. He hugged Konohamaru back. Naruto knew what it felt to fear death, and he was close to it many times. He guessed Konohamaru was new to this feeling and so did his best to comfort him. You're not going to die anytime soon, Konohamaru. Not as long as I can help it. I mean, who is going to replace me as Hokage one day if you're gone? Konohamaru looked up at Naruto with a surprised expression. He wiped the tears off his face and stepped back from the man. Konohamaru smiled back at his rival. You're right, Ni-chan. I won't die until I become the Nanadaime Hokage now, he told Naruto with a renewed vigor. Naruto smiled at his younger counterpart. He walked over and ruffled his hair. I know you will be Hokage one day, Kono. I have complete faith in you. But for now, you're still a Chunin. I also have a possible B-rank mission for you if you're interested. This will be your first mission as a Chunin. he said. Konohamaru then forgot about his tear and suddenly began to jump excitedly at the prospect of a high-ranking mission worthy of his talents. Finally, I got a mission worthy of me. So what's the mission? He asked while gleam in his eyes. Naruto chuckled at his reaction. He was reminded of himself when he was younger. He walked over to his desk and looked over the letters he wrote. He grabbed the one meant for Tazuna and handed it to Konohamaru. Kono, I need you to gather up your team and to go to Nami no Kuni. I need you four to deliver this letter to the man named Tazuna. He owns a building company. They were old friends of mine. When you give them the letter, I also want you to escort them back to Konoha and act as their protection. Are you clear? Konohamaru nodded. The smile stayed on his face. Crystal. He said confidently as Naruto nodded. Good. You're dismissed, Kono. Good luck. He said once more. Once Naruto was done talking with Konohamaru, he waited patiently for Yamato to arrive in his office. After waiting a few minutes, the Mokutan user entered the office with a grin on his face. Naruto smiled at seeing his Jonin captain. Yamato-sensei, he greeted. Yamato shook his head amusingly. You don't need to call me Taicho anymore, Naruto. Or should I say Hokage-sama? Well, yeah, I should say that you outrank me now, he said teasingly. Plus, my name isn't really Yamato, it's actually Tenzo. Naruto was surprised for a second. Well, okay then, Tenzo, he said. Let's get back to business. I actually called you here to discuss the reconstruction of Konoha, explained the Hokage. Tenzo nodded and was slightly surprised at Naruto's sudden seriousness. During my meeting council, we had to discuss the same topic, and during that time I recommended that you be the leader of the reconstruction project with me as the overseer due to our Mokutan Kekigenkai, he said as he began to explain his whole plan to reconstruct Konoha to Yamato. Once Naruto finished explaining his overall plan to the former root member, he noticed the slightly surprised look at his former captain. Are we clear on that, Tenzo? He asked. Hi, Hokage-sama. I will do my best to lead the current project, replied the Mokutan user. Very good. I also called you here to inform you that I wrote letters to other leaders to seek help for our reconstruction. I will send the gun in teams sometime later today and I will update you on the matter. If all goes well, the reconstruction of Konoha could be achieved much quicker than most anticipated. Explained the Hokage. Tenzo smiled at the good news. Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about, Tenzo. You're dismissed, said the young Hokage, and Tenzo nodded. The Mokutan user then left the office, leaving Naruto and his clones. Once Yamato left in his office, Naruto was left to his final duty for the day. He had to now send out Genin teams of a B-rank mission, each of which were given a mission by Naruto. During this same time, Konohamaru was already informing his team about their mission. His teammates were surprised to say the least when they saw Konohamaru in his new Chunin uniform. Once they were broken out of their shock, the four quickly departed to Nami no Kuni in search for a drunken builder named Tazuna. Meanwhile, in the Hokage office, Naruto sent out Genin team to Sunagakure to ask Naruto's friend, the Kazekage, for assistance for their repairs. Another team was sent to Yukigakure in order to deliver Naruto's letter to the famed Kazehana Kyoki. Of course, the team was more than happy to partake in this mission. It wasn't clear, and every day you get the chance to meet a celebrity of her status. A third team was also sent out to deliver another letter. This time it was to Tori no Kuni, Daimyo Toki, another old friend of Naruto and the current ruler of the land. Once after he debriefed that team, another was also sent on a mission, this time in search for Haruna, the daimyo of the no Kuni. A fifth team was also given a similar mission. Theirs was to head over to Udon no Kuni to deliver Naruto's message to the daimyo of the land, Chikara. 6 letters were sent to Shibuki, leader of Takigakure. The letter here was not only meant for help in the reconstruction effort. Due to Taki's vast resources, the team was also sent to purchase wood and metal to help the village repair. Then finally, one letter and last letter had to be delivered. This final letter was to Shion, the priestess and leader of Oni no Kuni. He blushed as he remembered his encounter with her. He couldn't believe how dense he was back then when he had agreed to make babies with Shion without even understanding what she truly meant. He recalled a somewhat similar experience with Kyoki as well. He could only sigh at his past experience with women. With them and Hinata, it only proved one thing about Naruto. He was a dense rock, especially when it came to women, and without his abilities, he would have remained that dense. He shook his head from such thoughts. After he sent those Genin teams away on those missions, he called for some more using the help of the Anbu. This time, the Genin teams called to the office in order to travel to various areas such as Kusagakure and Yugakure to purchase resources for the reconstruction effort. The team nodded and quickly left to fulfill their missions. With nothing left to do, he decided to go back to training with Sakura and left his clones to do the work. But before he went, to told his Anbu, 2 of you to stay here in any case of emergency comes, and two with me at the Hokage training grounds. Wolf Badger went with Naruto as Spider and Panther stayed behind, unknown location, in a hidden base of the Akatsuki Madara along with Team Taka, and patiently waiting for the return of Kisame and Zetsu. After a few hours, the two arrived in the base as well. Kisame grinned maniacally upon seeing Sasuke. He was reminded of his old partner Itachi. Sasuke, Karin, and Jugo paid the shark-like man no mind. Suigetsu, on the other hand, salivated as he noticed the legendary Samehara behind his back. Upon seeing the whole group finally gathered together in the base, Madara faked a cough to get their attention. The six noticed and all looked at the masked man as if waiting orders. Good. All of you are here. Kisame, I called you back because we need you for much important mission now. We need you to help us attack the 5 Kage summit and capture Naruto, brat. Are we clear on that, Crystal? Replied Kisame. He had no problem with the whatsoever. In fact, he was actually rather excited for the mission. It wasn't every day that you could attack all 5 of the Kages at once. He was full of excitement to finally test his skills against ninjas of his caliber. Good. We have a month to go before the summit begins, and so for the next month, I need all of us in pristine condition. You will all stay here in our base to train and prepare for our attack, understood? The 6 ninja all nodded at Madara's order. And now, any questions? He asked this time. The time nobody nodded their heads. Excellent. While you all stay here, I must leave before we attack the summit. I wish to recruit a member to our group. I believe he could be vital for our group. He explained to the group as the 6 of them looked at their leader with curiosity. Who do you plan on recruiting? Sasuke asked as he narrowed his eyes at the Master Chi in front of him. A man you and your team are all familiar with, actually. Yakushi Kabuto, he said with a sinister smile. Sasuke glared at the man upon the mention of that name. The name Kabuto sent shiver down the spines of Karin and Suigetsu. The two frowned upon hearing of Akatsuki plans on including the man's name, Okami. Anyone but that man. He gives me creeps as much as Orochimaru did. Suigetsu thought to himself. Not that freak. First I have to deal with the water bastard. Now the snake freak as well. Kami probably hates me. I know it. Karin frantically thought to herself. Sasuke meanwhile had no problem with the choice. Though he did not like the man, he had to admit he was a powerful ninja and could be variable and valuable ally during the attack on the summit. Madara looked at the reactions of everyone. Nobody seemed to disagree except for Karin and Suigetsu. He decided to begin his search for the snake and Danzo, Jane. He told everyone before vanishing using his Juken ninjutsu. Entrance of Konoha. The 3 Kumo ninjas, Omoi, Samui, and Kari all stand shocked in front of the destruction which lay before them. Samui, is this really Konoha? Asked the confused Omoi. Samui looked just as bewildered as the 2 teammates. I think it is, Omoi. I mean, look at the Hokage monument, she said as she pointed out to the mountain which the faces were carved of the Hokage. What the hell happened here? Yelled Kari. I don't know, Kari, but we shouldn't probably head over to the Hokage office now, replied Samui. Both Kari and Omoi nodded dumbly. The trio continued to walk up to the tower. As they walked around the ruins of Konoha, they couldn't help but wonder what had happened to Konoha before they arrived here. The 5 elemental nations all acknowledged Konoha as the greatest and strongest among them. But now, as they walked around the crater known as Konoha, they couldn't help but wonder what kind of power or attack could have led to destruction. And now that Konoha was in this state, they also wondered who is now considered the most powerful nation out of all 5. As they made their way to the tower, the people of Konoha looked at them strangely. There were whispers, murmurs, and rumors floating around concerning their presence. The trio paid them no mind. After a few minutes, they arrived in the tower, and they were met by the tower's receptionist. The receptionist showed them to the directions to the Hokage office. As they climbed up to the stairs where they saw Shizune and met her, the brunette that led them to the Hokage office. She knocked into the front door. As nobody answered, Spider came out and said, Hokage-sama is at the training grounds. Is anything important, Shizune-san? Asked the female Anbu. The Hokage secretary replied, Yes, Anbu-san. These 3 Kumonins carry a message from the right Kage. They would like to meet Hokage-sama. Kumo nodded as she and Panther went to the training grounds to get the Hokage while the 3 ninjas were waiting in the lounge. Shizune decided to enlighten the 3. You are wondering what happened to Konoha and who did this damage to Konoha. The 3 nodded as Shizune answered. You see, a few days ago we were attacked by the leader of the Akatsuki, a person called Pain. He killed many of our ninjas and destroyed our village using one jutsu, and he was the one who killed Jiraiya-sama. The 3 were shocked. Surely they expected the leader of the organization of S-rank criminals to be strong, but not this strong. Shizune, watching their reactions, giggled a little before Continuing, to save the villagers, Tsunade-sama had to use all of her chakra, which put her in a coma. We expect her to be awakened within 3 weeks, but the new Hokage arrived just in time and defeated Pain all by himself, which led to him being chosen as the new Hokage. The three were flabbergasted. Someone who not even the legendary Tsunade could beat and kill the Gama-san in Jiraiya was defeated by this new Hokage? And they were now more impatient to meet this new Hokage. The Hokage's training ground, Naruto and Sakura were doing their physical exercises as 5 of Naruto's clones were working on senjutsu. 50 of them were trying to reverse the flow of water in the river. 10 of them were on a wooden platform trying to complete the last stage of futon manipulation, which was to make multiple cuts on the waterfall by one person or a clone only. 100 of them were trying to burn a leaf with their chakra only. 100 were trying to make a leaf convert to dust just by chakra only. 20 of them were working on their new futon and mokutan jutsu. 20 of them were working on taijutsu katas of Uzumaki clan, which consisted of feints and counters and was more of a defensive style, while 20 were working on Namikaze clan style, which depended on speed and made use of both arms and legs equally. 20 were working on kenjutsu katas of Uzumaki clan. 10 of them were working on seals. Naruto was currently at 7 level seal master, and finally 10 of them were working with one clone of Sakura on super strength techniques. 5 of Sakura clones were working on burning a leaf, 5 were working alongside Naruto clones at a river, 9 were working on crumbling a leaf with just their chakra. The hidden Anbu members were mesmerized when they saw Naruto's method of training, which was more than effective. Suddenly their Anbu counterparts came and informed them of the situation, which they relayed on to Naruto, which said, "Sakura-chan, I have to go. Something important has come up." Sakura nodded, understanding Naruto's position, and gave a kiss on his cheek as he left. Sakura then remembered something and said, "Naruto's clones dispel yourself 20 at a time at interval of 2 minutes," and shook her head at her lover's lack of organization. Naruto entered his office. He was wearing a long-sleeved black ninja t-shirt, a Konoha Jonin flag jacket, ninja pants, and which were tucked into his black ninja boots. He had ninja tape and his kunai and shuriken holster around his right and left thighs, a funjutsu kit on his right hip, a medical kit on his left hip, his mother's katana on his right side of the waist, the Yamanaka clan katana on the left side of his waist, which was coated in poison and was chakra conductive. His mother's katana was also chakra conductive and made from the best metal from the Phoenix Valley, forged in the best armory in the Uzushiogakure, and was on par with the 7 swordsmen of the mist, and its special ability was to draw out water from the surroundings and leave a trail of water like river. It was passed down in the line of ruler of the clan head only. His mother being the last of one meant that her offspring was the next in line for the same. Everything was covered by a black cloak reaching his shin, which had the kanji in gold for sage on the back. He had taken the shoulder plates from the armor and had them on. He also had a shin guard from his armor on him. He sealed his Shadow Clone's summoning scroll on his left shoulder plate and Namikaze clan contract on his right shoulder plate. He had the Toad contract on his back, and he had not summoned the Phoenixes and passed their test. So he was not their summoner as of now. So he kept the contract in corner of his room. He had Uzumaki swirl on his left sleeve and Namikaze crest on his right one, and finally his back headband on. Upon entering the office, the trio of Kumo ninjas had eyed widened as they saw the Hokage. He appeared to be a man their age, and he was accompanied by another man who looked just as young as he did. As Naruto sat in the chair, he raised an eyebrow at the 3 visitors. Shikamaru was beside him as acting his new advisor. The 2 of them were surprised that Kumo ninjas were in Konoha seeking an audience with them. "Thanks, Shizune, you're dismissed," Naruto told his secretary. Shizune bowed and left the room, leaving the 5 ninja alone. Naruto censored their confusion, sighed and answered, "Yes, I am the new Hokage. I defeated Pain, and before you ask, I sensed your confusion. So tell me, what message Raikage did send for me?" The Kumo trio eyes widened, watching his sensory abilities. Samui straightened up and said, "Hokage-sama, my name is Samui and I lead the 3 of us. I am a Jonin of Kumo Gakure and my companions are both Chunin. The 2 of them are Amoy and Kawarui." Naruto nodded and asked, "So what message does the Raikage have for me, Samui-san?" It's about common enemy, Hokage-sama. The Akatsuki have attacked our sensei and the Raikage's brother, and they managed to capture him. He is the Jinchuriki of Hachibi," explained Samui as Naruto and Shikamaru both looked at her, clearly shocked by the unfortunate news. "Very well, I will help the best I can. We in Kona have faced each of the Akatsuki members, at least from those who we know of, and we have even managed to kill a few of them. Could you please tell me the members who attacked your sensei? He asked them as he grabbed the file on Akatsuki which were inside of the drawers of his desk. We managed to identify only one of them members, Hokage-sama. All in all, there were 4 of them. That's odd. Akatsuki always go only by pair, Shikamaru interjected. Agree, every time we encountered Akatsuki, they came by pairs. So, how was their members you identified? As not as his curiosity grew by the second, we recognized them as the missing nin of Konoha, Hokage-sama, Samui said before breathing out a deep breath. It was Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto looked at her with widened eyes, while his mouth was slightly agape. He flinched when he heard the name of his best friend mentioning with the likes of the Akatsuki. Shikamaru glanced towards Naruto to see his reaction, and he noticed Naruto attempting to hide his emotion, but only failing in doing so. What did you say? Are you certain it was him? He asked frantically as he continued nodding. Hi, Hokage-sama. He matched the description and even used his Sharingan. She said. Naruto looked down on his desk, averting eye contact from the 3 Kumo ninjas. His mind and emotions were all over the place. He couldn't believe Sasuke joined Akatsuki. It couldn't be the same Sasuke, but even though the continuity attempting to deny it, in the back of his mind, he knew they were speaking the truth. The Kumo ninjas and Shikamaru looked at Naruto weirdly. He hadn't spoken for at least a couple of minutes. Naruto shook his head, and after realizing that the 4 of them on their room were staring at him questionably, he asked the wolf and said, Wolf, take these people to Konoha's archives and give them the records about Genin Sasuke Uchiha. Take the route away from the Hyuga compound. The Yanbu understood the hidden meaning and said, Hi, Hokage-sama. Now, is there anything else, Samui-san? Asked Naruto. Samui nodded as she remembered the main purpose of their visit. Actually, yes, Hokage-sama. The Hokage sent us here to inform you of the 5 Kage Summit. He asked for you to be present in this event, and it is to take place at the end of the month in Tatsuno-kuni. The Tsuchikage, Kazekage, and the Mizukage have all accepted the invitation. All are waiting for you. Naruto soaked in the information. He nodded at the 3 of them. Tell him I'll be there. Thank you. He told them. The 3 Kumo ninjas bowed before the Hokage respectfully. Samui thanked Naruto on their behalf, and then the 3 left with Wolf to the archives. Once the 3 were gone, Naruto sighed at the revelation. He slumped at the news of his best friend. With his current emotions being a mess, he looked under the desk and opened the lowest drawer. Upon opening it, Naruto smiled and he found the Sake Tsunade had left. Naruto went in to grab it, but before he got there, he suddenly couldn't move his body. He had forgotten about his advisor's presence in his room. Usually I won't let you drink this early and on the job, but frankly, after hearing this troublesome news, I think I need a drink myself, Shikamaru admitted, and he let go of his mind on Naruto, and the blonde young man brought out the cups and one for each of them. We can't get too drunk, Naruto. We only drink a little. We can't make this a habit, Shikamaru warned Naruto. The Hokage nodded and he prepared their drinks. Once the drinks were prepared, both of them quickly drank their first glass. What do you think about all this, Shikamaru? Honestly, first day on the job and it's already troublesome. If I was in your position, I believe it is time to forget about your promise. Sasuke had made his choice, Naruto. If I was you, I would have given them the information they needed. But then again, you're the Hokage and I'm just an advisor. The final decision will always be yours, he told them firmly. You don't understand, Shikamaru. It's more than a promise. He was like my brother. Someone who understood what it meant to be lonely. Although I don't like it, but I don't think it matters much to Sakura about the promise. She's happy with me, and she has genuine feelings for me. When I'll tell her and the others about this, no doubt they will lash out on Sasuke. But if it gets worse, the only one thing I can do, and I think that I will regret that for my whole life, and it will haunt me in my dreams. You tell the others about this. I have an appointment meeting today at 7. With that, Naruto left once again for the training grounds. As the memory of the clones hit him, he saw that Sakura had already left, and he had 1 hour before the meeting with the Yamanaka clan. He went there and practiced both of his katas to make sure he knew them. He was still lacking a bit in the basic genjutsu katas, but deciding to ask advice from his Neko Nechan later, he was able to burn the whole leaf without a problem. He was also able to crumble the leaf to dust without a problem. He was able to reverse the water current for 2 minutes. It was good, but not impressive. He decided to make the time limit until 10 minutes, proceeding to the next exercise. He was also able to make 4 cuts simultaneously in the waterfall, but for him, that was not good. He decided that the number should be a minimum of 15. He then decided to test his super strength. He saw an earth wall roughly 10 feet high, 2 feet thick and 15 feet long. He then punched it using his super strength and 7 feet high, 10 feet long and a 1 feet thick section fell. He decided that he had to improve on that as well. Next, he decided to test his senjutsu, but instead of taking nature energy and maintaining a balance, he decided to take Kurama's advice. He took nature energy, but instead of using it as a separate source, he decided to flow nature energy through his chakra coils. It caused different markings to appear on his face. He had black lines running from his eyes to his ears, and a black dot inside a black circle outline appeared on his center of his forehead, but was hidden by his headband. The black markings also covered his eyes like the Toad Sage mode. He now had a brown iris with a small white pupil in the center. Naruto felt different from when he was using the Toad Sage mode and decided to test it out. Earlier he needed minimum 1 clone to make Rasen Shuriken, but now he held out his hand and Rasen Shuriken began to form. It was the same size and Naruto was able to throw it too. It was just as powerful. Naruto thanked Kurama and dispersed his Sage mode. He was able to enter Toad Sage mode in 30 seconds without clones, and with this new Sage mode in 1 minute. He decided to improve on that time too. He then went to the Hokage mansion to change as he had a meeting in 45 minutes with the Yamanaka clan. After the Uzumaki Namikaze compounds were complete, he would move on there. He showered and changed, this time wearing his black-orange jumpsuit with the Hokage robe on and his pouches, ninja tape, and katanas along with the Inuzuka Fang necklace. He walked through the streets and saw the reconstruction was going well because of his clone and Yamato's spanning buildings. As he walked through the village, he saw people waving at him, mother asking him to kiss the foreheads of their babies, and fangirls stalking him. He made his way to the Yamanaka flower shop. Yamanaka Ino was sitting and helping in her flower shop. She still had 1 hour to go and meet her friends, Konoha 11, for something important. As Shikamaru said, the door opened and she saw Naruto enter. She immediately blushed when she saw him in that outfit. She also saw that he had the katana, special katana for clan, on the left side of his wrist. Naruto entered and saw Ino and sensed it again and asked, "Was he really that dense when it came to girls, Kurama?" "Yes, the Yuga stalked you for years and was still stalking you. If I were you in your position, I would have not regarded her feelings. She saw your suffering and did nothing as far as I remember," answered Kurama. He thought on the inside, if she would have loved me, then would have done at least something. It took me dying to make her confess her feelings. He looked at Ino and said, "Hey Ino-chan, how are you going?" Ino broke out of her stupor and blushed heavily when she heard him say her name like that. Hey Naruto-kun, what are you doing here?" Naruto answered, "I have a meeting with your father, some clan matters. Before you ask Ino, no, I won't tell you. I don't want to spread a double S-class secret to the whole village." Ino pouted, which made Naruto blush and even thought out loud, "Even my puppy dog guy's jutsu is a failure in cuteness," when you and Sakura-chan pout. Ino looked at him with a blush rapidly spreading on her face. Naruto looked confused and Kurama enlightened him. "You said that out loud, Gaki." Naruto's eyes widened and he went to apologize, but Ino asked him, "Did you mean it?" Naruto looked at her and answered, "Yeah, of course I meant it." He then looked at the time and said, "Ino, don't you have to go to that meeting that Shikamaru asked or called for?" Ino replied, "Yes, are you coming too?" Naruto replied, "No, though it is something important, and all of you need to make a decision on it. Me and Shikamaru have already decided." Ino wondered what it could be as she saw Naruto leave with her father and went to change and get to the gathering herself. Naruto sat down opposite to Inoichi as he took out his father's letter and handed it to him. He knew what this was about and he talked about Naruto, each business that Namikaze owned. It turned out that 55% of business in Konoha and Hinokuni were owned by the Namikazes. He then told Naruto about the Uzushio Gakure and Naruto had a mental note to visit Uzushio and gather anything left there. He then finalized everything, which included the Namikazes will give the Yamanakas rare herbs, flowers, poisons along with antidotes and allow them to research in the Namikaze greenhouse in turn for the managing Namikaze businesses until Naruto revealed himself and the trader gets to know him. He left the Yamanaka flower shop and wondered how their friends were taking the news of Sasuke's betrayal and what their decision on that matter was. He went to his office and told his Zanbus and told them to gather the population of Konoha for an important announcement the day after tomorrow. Konoha 11. After they were assembled, Naruto meeting still ongoing. Everybody sat there and looked at Shikamaru as he was the one who called the meeting. When everything was settled, Shikamaru spoke up. "Okay, even though no matter how much troublesome this is, I really have troublesome news, and it involves Naruto, Akatsuki, and Sasuke." Everyone except Neji and Shino gasped when they heard this. Their reaction was just eye-wide. Neji and Shino were eager to hear about what Shikamaru had to say. Before anyone could say anything, Shikamaru continued. Sasuke became a part of Katsuki. Everyone seemed to gasp at that. Kiba shouted, "What the hell? What is going on? What on earth? What on earth possessed Sasuke to join the organization? I don't know. But the Katsuki had managed to capture the eight-tailed host. You can already see where this is going." Shikamaru answered. Ino then spoke up. "But that can't be right. Sasuke joined the same organization as his brother. The same organization that killed Asuma-sensei." Shikamaru sighed and continued. "It wasn't the fact that Sasuke captured the eight-tailed host that served as the breaking point for a foreign village to move out. It was the fact that the eight-tailed host was the brother of the Raikage. You understand now? Sasuke casually caused such an international uproar. That's the way I see it. Naruto has no choice but to place Sasuke on the bingo book, lest he wants our village to go to the war. Besides, I'd be damned if they take Naruto." This time Shikamaru's expression turned grim. This time Kiba's fist was shaking. "So it comes to this, huh? Then do we have a choice? Sasuke was our friend, but I'm not going to let him take Naruto." Shino replied in monotone. "If persuasion, though, words cannot treat Sasuke anymore, then there's no helping it. I'd rather kill him than lose Naruto. What's going to happen?" Ino looked worried at Shikamaru. Shikamaru grabbed one of his teacher's trench knives and gripped the handle as tight as he could. "We're going to take care of Sasuke. It's bad enough that Naruto carries the burden for all of us. We can't rely on him forever. We need to grow up as well," Shikamaru said. It was then that Ino and Sakura started breaking down. Hinata remained silent in the whole ordeal. "Sasuke is now liable for his action. There's nothing that can be done or would be done, and I have made our decision. We will give Sasuke one last chance, and if he denies that, then we will kill him," Shikamaru said. Shikamaru looked up at Sakura and asked, "What are you going to do, Sakura?" Sakura was quiet for a moment and replied, "We have to face the reality. Sasuke has sunken on so much darkness that none of us know. He was given everything. He had everything, but he betrayed us and our trust. I am not going to let anyone harm or let any harm befall on Naruto, and I think it will be best if we killed him, because if Naruto kills him, it will be something that will torment him his whole life, and he will eventually break down." Shikamaru smiled and said, "Well said, Sakura. Naruto can push Sasuke to the brink of death, but killing him is something that if he does, will break him and torment him. We will take care of Sasuke without Naruto if he knows. He will again try to carry the burden for us." Everyone agreed and decided to do so, but before anyone could leave, Ino spoke out. "Hey guys, Naruto told me that he has some clan matters to tend to. Do you know which clan Naruto belongs to?" Shikamaru answered to her, "Yes, the Uzumaki clan. And probably the Namikaze," he added inside his mind. "Look up for it in the library. Explaining us is troublesome. But I can tell you one thing, that they and the Senju clans were cousins." Everyone's eyes widened as they nodded and went home to research their own. As this is where I'm going to be leaving this part of, guys. I hope you like this one, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content on this channel. And without further ado, let's end this video here, as this is Apollo Uchiha and I'm signing out. Peace.